So I want to talk a little bit about Lightwave 2025 rendering capabilities and the reconstruction filters that have been repaired for this version of Lightwave. I'm currently using 2025.0.1, and back in 2021 I created this scene and did a rendering of this shot right here. Well, actually I did multiple shots, but this is the one I'm going to show you today of this scene because it's a fully loaded scene with many possibilities for shots. And you can see by the scene editor we have quite a bit in this scene. This is, a real scene that I used for a project. And let me just run through here real quick the lighting system. I have a sun, and then a lot of lights. I got environment light, door light. These door lights, I put lights in my windows. You can see it right here. I put lights in my windows just to help, the GI and everything. This is, GI, but you have to have lights. And this is all the different lights, ceiling lights. I might even have, I think I do, I have some upfill bounce lights, that I've put on the floor, and, they just fill, shooting straight up, just kind of fill things out a little bit. But anyway, I created the scene in 2021, and it took right around an hour to get clean result here, and I'll show you the result here. So this is the result. It's a 1200 by 1200 is the resolution for 1 hour and 44 seconds. Brute force, 4 camera samples, 24 adaptive samples, and 32 GI samples. I would not have used any adaptive samples, knowing what I know today about that kind of being broke in 2020, 2023, 2024. But that's neither here nor there. This is what I used back in 2021. So what I want to do, let's see what Lightwave 2025 can do with this image, with the repaired reconstruction filters. So what I did is took this scene and loaded it into 2025 as was. Didn't change anything, and just hit F9, and we have 58 minutes 43 seconds. So that's 2 minutes faster. Same exact settings, but as you can see, there's noise. Got a Mori pattern in this pillow, and things are pretty fuzzy all around. The glass is a little bit different, although I like the glass better in 2025 versus 2020. Looks a little too thin here. So anyway, that's just pulling an old scene into 2025 and hitting F9. If you do that, you can maybe expect a slight increase in speed, or maybe a slight decrease in speed, but the quality won't be the same for sure. So that's something you got to work with, and that's where the reconstruction filters come in. So my next attempt was let's make some adjustments to the settings and see what we can come up with, and see if we can improve over this quality, maybe bring it up to more of the quality I got out of this render at 1 hour. And so my first attempt here was 4 camera samples, no adaptive samples, same amount of GI samples, and we come in at 8 minutes and 52 seconds. And these are the reconstruction filter settings here. As you can see, it's still not as clean as this one, and now of course it may be hard to see in YouTube or whatever, but it's not as clean, but it's definitely better. So here's 1 hour basically, and it's an improvement, and it was 8 minutes and 52 seconds with just these samples. So the next step would be, can we increase the camera samples to just get a little bit better output. Now this is probably fine for animation. I think it would completely pass, moving images and stuff. I think sometimes a super sharp image can be a little bit sterile. Now I wouldn't call this super sharp, but I've seen a lot of renderings that are so sharp and everything, they can look a little sterile. What the reconstructions filters do is that they do add a little bit of softness to the image, and quite frankly I kind of like it. Some may not, but I kind of like it. But let's just see now, if we up these camera samples, if we can get a little bit better improvement and see what happens at the time. So what I did here is I just doubled the camera samples, and basically the time doubled, which is kind of what you would expect probably. So 17 minutes, and to me that's clean, that's plausible. This is 1200 by 1200 like I said, so the resolution probably really isn't high enough to kind of get rid of some of the Mori pattern here on the pillow. You can see this is just kind of a blurry mess even on 2020. So this probably should have been rendered at a little higher resolution. But 17 minutes, this is, I think this is very sellable at this point. Definitely better than the 1 hour here. I do like the glass, the way the glass turned out. Yeah, there is some noise, but it's it's minimal, and a good denoiser would really help in cleaning a lot of that up. For animation, 17 minutes is probably a bit too long, but I could definitely animate this, and it'd probably be fine. And 8 minutes, while it's still up there, it's better than an hour. But again, I haven't done much in the way of animation with this type of shot. Interiors. But anyway, I think there is improvement, definitely speed improvement, especially if you're okay with a little bit of softness in your renderings, which, like I said, I kind of like it. It makes them not look so sterile. But of course, post is where it all happens. You can give any look you want. It is something that I think Lightwave Digital needs to work on and do their best to, number one, put in a good denoiser that will denoise the images. And one of the things that I did with 2020, and I didn't do it with this image at all, this is straight rendered out of 2020, but for most of my ArchViz work, furniture interior shots, what I would always do, and they were just stills, I would render at very large resolutions, 6K at 2 camera samples. That's it. And take that 6K image and bring it into a denoiser, get rid of the noise, and then sample down to a 3K image. That took care of any anti-aliasing problems that were in the image, and of course when you denoise a very large image, the denoisers always seem to do a better job. Render times were atrocious. On a PC, my PC, they would be about 40 minutes for a 6K render, which was quite long. But again, they were just stills. So anyway, that's 2025, the reconstruction filters. I haven't really played with all of them. I've just kind of worked with this Gaussian filter. And you'll have to work with these. I would recommend that you go into your camera view and just do a limited region render of an area. Say, an area where you think, there's going to be noise present, and just do these limited region renders and see what it gives you. And just start comparing render times, versus quality, and make adjustments accordingly to the reconstruction filter to, see where you're at. Now, I did not render those images that you saw. I did not render on this PC. I have a different PC that I used to render. So this is, even at limited region, it's slow. But this is the PC that I used to develop on. I have another PC I used to render on. So yeah, you can see it's going to take a while even to get a limited region render, but yeah, you just can't spend the time to render the whole image, see what it looks like, make adjustments, and render again. Use this limited region tool to your advantage here, and just select different areas where you think noise might be present in a typical image, and make your adjustments there. But anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of some of the areas in which the 2025 reconstruction filters can help you, and you need to experiment. That's my best advice. Experiment with the various settings and see what gives you the results. And I know it can be a pain in the butt, but basically, I've kind of settled on my settings, so something in the neighborhood of 4 to 8 camera samples, and these settings right here seem to work, but again, you have to test on probably each and every scene to see kind of what works best. And this is an exterior shot. I'm sure exterior shots with a bright sun beating down, render times will be a lot faster for that kind of a setting. So experiment and have fun.